Okay, hello everybody. Today we are going to review a movie that just came out not too long ago. I think it's only been in theaters for a few weeks, but by the time this review comes out, who knows, because I'm going to have to put up a video about all the backlog of content I have and just kind of move along with everything else that I'm doing, and I'm going to have to start reading my books because yeah, I gotta get my other list done, or at least started, start working through it because yeah, I have so much to do, and I just wanna start moving on with some of my lists so I can kind of just finally sit back and relax and go, I can just go back to having some more suggestions come in on my channels and yeah, do that kind of stuff. So anyway, today we're going to be reviewing the movie Amsterdam with, oh my God, what a crazy cast. Um, was there anybody not in this movie? Like that's kind of what I'm wondering. It was such a just an absolute crazy cast. Yeah. So Christian Bale played Bert. Wow, Bert Bernardson. Margot Robbie played Valerie Vose. John David Washington played Harold Woodman. Alessandro Nivolo played Detective Hiltz. Andrea uh, Riseborough played Beatrice Vanderhoovel. Oh my God. Anna Taylor-Joy played Libby Vose. Chris Rock played Milton King. Uh, Matthias or Matthias? Yeah, I'm gonna say Matthias. Matthias Schoetenarts played Detective Lem Gewiller. Michael Shannon played Henry Norcross. Michael Myers played Paul Canterbury. Taylor Swift played Liz Meekins. Timothy Olyphant played Taryn Milfax. Zoe Saldana played Irma St. Clair. Rami Malek played Tom Vose. Robert De Niro played General Gil Dillenbeck. Dillenbeck, sorry, my bad. And I think that is the entire main cast. So there was just a ton of people in this movie. Let me just say that. So this was the main story takes place in 1933. So a little bit after World War One obviously had finished, because when they go back in time to 1918, they're talking about how they all met, right? So Bert and Harold are best of friends, and they meet Valerie as well. She was a doctor in, she must have been a doctor in France, I'm assuming. Um, at least I think she, at least they thought she was a French doctor, right? And then the three of them, after the war, move out to, well, after they had served, because they got so injured that they couldn't obviously serve anymore. Uh, so the three of them move out to Amsterdam, and then eventually at some point Bert moves back to the States because he has a wife that lives there, and he wants to continue his life and practice medicine in the States. When he gets back there, he obviously isn't open with welcome arms, uh, as a soldier should be, because when he was sent over, he said, "Oh yeah, you'll get all these medals, and you'll be the talk of the town. Everybody respects soldiers, blah 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 blah." But when he gets back, he was not welcome, and his wife's dad tells him that he can't do his practice there, so he ends up taking his practice out onto the streets, and we find out that he's doing all these experimental drugs, or experimenting with medicines to make stronger medicines. And yes, I mean, he tests them himself, and a lot of the times he ends up passing out from his own medicines. So it's just absolutely hilarious. And his friend Harold becomes a lawyer, and I'm just looking up the group that was in the movie. Group that was in Amsterdam. What can I spell? Okay, let's hope this comes up. No, I might have to type in Amsterdam movie. Maybe. Oh, come on. Maybe I'll have to type in something else before that. Come on. Wow, they're really not going to tell me, are they? Oh my god. I don't know what is going on. Holy kamunga, guys. I can't do anything today. Okay, so we're going to type in German group that was in Amsterdam movie. Amsterdam movie. They were called the something 5. I know that much. Something 5. Something 5. Okay. And at the very beginning of the movie, it says some of what happened in this movie is true. So that means that not all of it was true, but some of it must have been true. So I think we're hopefully gonna find out what the name of the group was or the German group was that did all these, that was trying to take over the government. Yep, that's fine. Okay. Oi, oi, oi. Do 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 do. Okay, so I guess yeah, that's fine. Oh, come on. Where are they? I'm trying to find the group that was in the movie. Okay. What was the name of them? It's gotta say here somewhere, I would think. Good lord. Really not gonna tell me? You would think it would have something here. Oh my god, I might have to just pause this for a minute. Sorry, guys. Okay, so, as I was saying, Bill Meekins is the one that is killed in the movie, and the group name is the Committee of the 5. So if I forget that again, I just want to get that out of the way now. So that, oh my god, I also exited IMDb for some reason. So yeah, it is the Committee of the 5 that they discover later on, who is, I guess, yeah, I guess I guess that is the little thing on the wall. So yeah, it's the Committee of the 5 they discover later on in the movie, but this is after Taylor Swift's character, Liz Meekins, has hired them to figure out what happened to her father, Bill Meekins. So where is... it seems weird that he's not even credited on here, isn't it? Interesting. So yeah, so they find traces of certain stuff in his stomach, which obviously would have killed him, but I guess Bill didn't believe in what obviously the Committee of the 5 was doing, and clearly a lot of people did, also including once they come back to meet with the Vose family, when they decide to meet with, oh good lord, when they decide to meet with Tom Vose, and his, was it his wife? I believe it was his wife, yeah, and then obviously Valerie was the sister, and that's clearly what she was running away from when she was in Amsterdam with him years earlier, and she had No contact with Harold, even though she was living in San Francisco, and I'm pretty sure they were in New York, weren't they? So they were fairly close to one another for all these years. But she had been given this experimental medicine over these years that ended up giving her more and more symptoms instead of curing her. So she ended up having vertigo and a whole bunch of nerve damage, so she had a hard time walking, I guess. So that was a little comical in the movie for sure. And they were also trying to clear their names uh, from Liz Meekin's murder themselves. Tom and Harold were, right. Or sorry, Bert and Harold were. Oh my God, Tom was from the last movie. Good Lord. All these movies mixed together. um, so yeah, Bert and Harold were trying to clear their name because they were framed by the real murderer, who was Taryn Milfax, um, who pushed Liz Meekins under the car, and then decided that he was going to frame them, and then yeah, he has to do an autopsy on the body, and then they find this stuff, and then um, Bert ends up falling in love with Irma St. Clair, who was the other doctor who was helping him work on the autopsy. And then when they go to meet Tom Vose, he says that they should really get the general involved in their speech or whatever. And then he kind of ends up admitting to the fact that they were part of the reason um, oh my God, why Meekins had died. What was his name? Meekins. Come on. It was right here. I know it was. Yeah, anyway. So, yeah, I had his name in my head just a second ago, and now I can't for the life of me remember what his name was. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know why I can't find him now. So anyway, Liz Meekin's father, was it? Good Lord, like where did it go? It was just here. Meekins. Yeah. Okay, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, Meekins. Maybe I can find him here somewhere. I don't know. This just such a mess. Oh, Bill Meekins was his name, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Bill Meekins. Bill Meekins is the one that died. So yeah. So obviously after all of that, after Bill Meekins' death, I'm assuming that was him. It has to be him. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to go through some photos. Hopefully there's photos of him dead before they do the autopsy. I would imagine there is. Oh, now I got a hair in my mouth. So anyway, so he ends up falling in love with the other girl doing the autopsy, Irma, and obviously his wife Beatrice is trying to bring him back into her life by saying, you'd be nothing basically without me, blah, 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 blah. Remember what my father has done for you, so on and so forth. And yeah, none of that is really reeling him back in. He's kind of more concerned about his own life at this point, and says at the when she says at their gala or whatever, or their yeah, I guess it was a gala for the soldiers, right? But they end up exposing this committee of the five, which was a symbol, which was composed of two fives crossed together, which I immediately thought, I was like, oh my God, that's almost identical to the swastika. And when Harold and Valerie end up finding this one spot, it turns out that Taryn is already there, and he tries to go after them and tries to get them into these experimental robes to do experiments on them too, saying that they need this saying that they need whatever they're giving the rest of the people there to make them numb to everything. And their whole entire plan was to basically create a dictator in America so that it would be easier for the Germans, I guess, to control everything already beforehand. But thankfully, with the help of Henry Norcross and Paul Canterbury, who was an eye salesman, but also UK secret intelligence, and I believe the other guy was U.S. Was it naval intelligence? I think I might have that wrong, but he was U.S. intelligence of some sort anyway, and the other guy was UK intelligence. Yes. So they're working together, and then they come together to form the plan, and the cops that are trying to were supposed to be sent in to arrest Bert and Harold end up working on the plan with them together to expose this Committee of the Five, and they invite this Committee of the Five to the event, and obviously some German soldiers are there to hear the general's speech, and yeah, after the whole event, obviously, two people are arrested. Um, Definitely uh, Tom Vose and Libby Vose are both arrested for their involvement in what was going on, and not even noticing. You wouldn't even notice this from a ground point of view. You would have to be from an aerial view. But his hedges in the front were cut like a swastika, so he was just a super follower of Hitler, who not many people had even heard of back in. I'm assuming most of this took place within a few years, so somewhere in the 1930s, because World War II started in 1942, right? So yeah, not a lot of people would have even heard of Hitler by that point in time, um, but they definitely would have known about him probably by within a couple of years of what had happened with everything else, and they had to do a lot of convincing themselves, obviously, Bert, Valerie, and Harold, to even get the general to do any sort of speech. But when he goes down to meet with the guy uh, who keeps bringing him the bag of money, he says, what is this for? Like, what do you want?" And the guy accidentally lets it slip that it's the Committee of the Five, and then covers it up by saying it's the Committee of some sort of charity or whatever, right? Trying to cover up like what they're doing is for a good cause, but he can't say everything that they're doing. He has to meet with these other people, right? And then obviously he exposes them, and then who was it? Yeah, Taryn tries to take out the general, and the general says, "Whoever's shooting at me is a coward," so he clearly has no fear. And then at the end, Bert ends up getting shot, but thankfully his back brace saved his life. And then Taryn is taken away, and yeah, the good guys win. They literally conned the Committee of the Five into showing up there just so they could figure out why why Bill Meekins had died for absolutely no reason, and for what reason they had decided to kill him. And yeah, unfortunately, Tom and Libby end up exposing their entire plan, which was lucky because otherwise both Meekins' deaths would have been for absolutely nothing without the help of everybody else who was involved. And I think that probably definitely helped stop um, what could have been a heck of a lot worse from happening. Yeah, it stopped what happened, obviously, in history already from being a lot worse and happening years earlier, because imagine if Germany had been able to get control of the states, and, imagine if they had been able to get control of the states, and, what that would have done for, how that would have changed history. I think that would have been nuts. I don't think we'd be where we were today if that hadn't been stopped, because they show the little clip of the general at the end in real life saying the speech, and then obviously Robert De Niro's character saying the same thing. And they changed his name in the movie, obviously, because I guess they didn't really want it to be. I guess the rest of the characters were fictitious, right? So they wanted him to be kind of, maybe they could mold him into a little bit differently, obviously, from what the actual general was like. Now, I would like to maybe see, because obviously there was some truth to this movie, so I would actually like to see a story on what actually took place and how everything happened. So I did really thoroughly enjoy this movie, and I highly recommend going to see it in theaters. There isn't really a lot out right now, at least around where I'm living, here in Ontario. So yeah, there isn't really too much for movies going on until like well, I guess Halloween ends. I'm going to see that Thursday, and then I guess Black Adam is literally within a week. So yeah, there is some stuff obviously coming out at the end of October. And then I guess some big things on streaming services. But other than that, there isn't really too much. So yeah, I did give this movie 9 out of 10. I thought it was really good. Super comical and just a crazy cast. Like, yeah, just a crazy cast. Each scene seemed to have somebody new in it, and you're like, oh my god, they're in it too? Like, how in the world were they able to get all these people together to film this? You would almost think that some of them would be doing another project, but yeah, it was crazy to think that they were able to put this all together and just have this star-studded cast in this movie. So I hope I hope I covered everything from the movie correctly. As I was kind of putting the pieces together of the Committee of the Five, I think I kind of back shuffled a little bit and remembered more bits to the story. I know there's probably a long pause in this video, so you need to just skip through a little bit, or maybe I might try to figure if I can cut some of the stuff out. But yeah, yeah, but I did really thoroughly enjoy this movie. So once we figured out who everybody's name was, because oh my god, like I said again, there is a lot of people in this movie, so a lot of names to remember. So if I'm scrolling back and forth at times, I'm terribly sorry. But yeah, there's just a lot to remember in this movie, even story-wise and character name-wise. So yeah, and I've done a lot of reviews today, but this was the one that I think was probably the most fresh in my head because I just went to see it yesterday with my family. So yeah. Um, yeah, so 9 out of 10 for this movie. I would highly recommend going to see it in theaters if you can. If not, I highly recommend watching it when it comes out on streaming services or it's available to rent and buy on digital, possibly, if you're one of those people that likes to, if you think the movie deserves it, to buy it for a second time. Sometimes I do that, or sometimes if I really, really enjoy the movie, I buy a physical copy of it, regardless of whether it's on digital or not, because then sometimes when the internet goes out, at least you can still watch the movie if you really want to sit there and watch it. But I think it only got like a 6.6 on IMDb, which just seems like a fairly low rating. A 6.2, sorry, on IMDb. But I mean, yeah, I feel like it was kind of one of those movies, like, I still want to see how they run too, so I guess we'll see. Yeah, because only 6,000 people, so I feel like it's one of those movies that you kind of have to really like the cast and really like historical pieces in order to even really appreciate this movie. But yeah, it was about three friends who basically solve a huge murder case that ends up being way above their heads, and just, yeah, it was comical to watch the three of them try to put the pieces together and get people involved and clear their names. So yeah, really, really good movie, and I highly recommend going to see it. Again, 9 out of 10, and I will see you guys in the next review. Bye bye for now. Don't know why I'm doing this.